Hello, welcome to the TELA podcast. My name is Chandler Hutt. Today I'll be joined by
Malachi Henry.
And Connor Miller.
Now today we're going to be discussing campus recycling. Now, I know it's a pretty unorthodox topic about recycling for a podcast, but instead of complaining about how bad the world is and everything, we're actually going to do something about it. So we got a couple of topics lined up for you today, and we're just going to get right into this. First off, when it came into researching recycling, we found out that it has a precedence here on Trine University. I know that Connor Miller here did some great research on it when it comes to organizations. Connor, you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, sure. So Trine used to have quite a bit of resources for recycling, but they've kind of died out in the last couple of years.
That's interesting. Tell me more about it. Like, what kind of group was it? Like, what were they really doing here?
There's two clubs that really did something. There was a club that was more dedicated towards recycling. It was the SPEAK Club, which stands for Students Promoting Environmental Awareness and Knowledge. Part of what they did was recycling on campus, but they also did some other things like out in the community. They had a festival and they cleaned up kind of in the community and around here. Really, it wasn't just Trine, it was the whole community that they were benefiting.
It's a good program that they're really trying to get to, but I think overall it was a little bit disinterest, but I think COVID was really the nail in the coffin for them. Trying to kind of bring that back to life, resurrect it really.
Yeah. Over COVID, they lost a lot of members, and then their president graduated.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't really have a president, no one to lead the group. That's kind of the problem right now.
Yeah, and I know that we were really trying to look into the disinterest for recycling, try to figure out why people didn't really want to. And I know that Malachi, you ran a lot of the great studies and like research that we really had going on. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so we put together two surveys and sent one of them to students at different universities, our friends. So we sent it out through messages or through social media and got a hold of friends at other campuses and asked them a couple questions.
What kind of schools were we looking at?
So there was actually quite a wide range of schools, both public and private, both size and location. Some of the colleges that we surveyed included Huntington University, Indiana University, Butler University, Indiana Wesleyan, IUPUI, Lindenwood, Texas A&M, Purdue Fort Wayne, Cleary University, and Grand Canyon University.
Really good spread. What was the overall consensus from those colleges?
So we asked them, when they do not live on campus, does their household recycle? Meaning, when they're at home, when they're not on campus, do they recycle? And 61.3% of those students reported that they did, and 12.9 reported that they do occasionally.
What makes it easy to recycle at home as opposed to
obviously
making it harder here?
So when you're at home, oftentimes you either do not have to pay for recycling bins, the city provides them, or you do have to pay for them, but it's extremely convenient. You just put those bins out by the curb just like you would your trash, and it can all be taken away. Obviously, if you live in a rural area, it's a lot harder to do that. But it's more convenient when you are at home versus when you're on campus, because we then asked, when you're on campus, do you recycle? And only 48.4% of those students reported that they did. That's about a 10 to 20% drop, but that's still a pretty good percentage of students that report that they do recycle on campus. And we asked them what kind of opportunities does their college offer for recycling. We got a wide range of responses from recycling bins to recycling bins in the dorms or next to the trash cans. There's a bottle recycling machine from someone who lives in Germany, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But it's basically just convenience. They have bins everywhere, or dumpsters.
Trying to avoid politics here, but I know that when it comes to how EU kind of operates things, they really prioritize overall ecosystem health and how the people function.
They do, yes, they do.
It's very interesting to think about.
Yeah. So then the second survey we sent to Trine students. So obviously this is just students here on campus, some of you guys. And so when we asked them the same questions, we got different results. So when we asked, when you do not live on campus, does your household recycle? Meaning, again, when they're at home, do Trine students recycle? 70.8% of those students report that they did. And then when we asked, when they're on campus, do they recycle? Meaning, this is the money question. Do students here at Trine recycle? 76.2% of students reported that they do not recycle when they're here on campus.
That's astonishing.
Yes, that's alarmingly high.
Yeah, I think that really comes down to just what we have available, because it's very obvious that, like, while we do have a lot of Midwestern students, we do get a lot of variety in our campus. So, like, it's not just tied to a particular lifestyle people, because we obviously, people at home, they do recycle a lot. So I think it's just difference between the accessibility.
Yeah, so Connor, I believe, was it Speak that put out bins?
Speak had bins everywhere on campus, and then the ASCE had more bins in the engineering building. So there have been opportunities to recycle in the past, and those have been utilized.
And now that Speak is no longer functioning, are there still bins?
There's still bins around campus. It's very rare.
Like the most prominent ones, like the one in the link.
Yeah, there's one in the link. Oddly enough, there's one in the workout room in Hershey.
Yeah, I did come across that one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
While I was doing field research.
But I don't know who takes them out or if they get emptied.
I think my theory is that they just put them all with the trash. It doesn't get recycled anyways.
They've had problems with that in the past. I think Trine put out bins that were labeled recycling and just got thrown in the trash.
So obviously, there are not very many opportunities here on campus to recycle. So it may not be 100% the students' fault for not recycling while they're here at Trine, because they are not particularly given the opportunity to recycle, even though they may recycle at home.
Low opportunity, low incentive. It's just less reasons, because obviously, when it comes to how the human brain really functions, you're looking for things to be rewarded by doing, and you want to continually do things you're rewarded for. There's no real reward to recycling in general.
Exactly. So, and this is actually reflected in the survey data, because the final question that we asked on the survey that we sent to students here at Trine was, would you recycle if there were more options available on campus? And 79.2% of students reported that they would. Wow. Meaning even if they did recycle already, they would continue to recycle or recycle more if there were more options. Yeah. And then you also get all of the students that report that they don't, that would recycle because there are opportunities now.
I believe it was Purdue University that really promoted their recycling programs, further improved how some students functioned. I remember in some of our data, they started recycling more when they came onto their campuses from other students.
Yeah, so that was Purdue University. There were actually a couple more. So Indiana Wesleyan, Huntington University, and Purdue University all had students who report that they didn't recycle at home, but do recycle that while they're on campus. And that goes back to availability. Some people live in areas where recycling is not available. It's just
too damn expensive.
Right. It's just not practical to recycle. But once they get onto a campus where it's widely available, it's much easier to recycle and much better for the planet, so they do actually decide to recycle more.
When looking into some of our reward methods, I know you were talking about the bottle recycling in Germany. Tell us a little bit more about that invention.
Yeah, so they're called reverse vending machines, and they're pretty intuitive. They basically work by taking the bottle, and instead of inserting money and getting a bottle out, you insert a bottle and get money out. So they're widely used in more Germany and China. Those are the two countries where they are produced the most and used the most. But you can buy them and get them here.
Yeah, you knew we were looking into the market, and it was like they're not cheap whatsoever.
They're not. They're quite expensive. However, I do think they would be a good idea for, say, to put one in the UC.
Yeah.
Just in a place of high traffic. And we could probably even set up a way to work out with flex dollars, how you can get swipes from that.
And this is kind of like, if you ever look at a bottle, in some states you can turn it in and get money.
Yeah.
So this kind of teaches.
Like Pepsi Coin, I think it is.
Something like that. Some of them.
Where they're like trying to do rewards for.
Yeah. In Michigan, if you just turn a bottle in, you can get like 5 cents or something.
Yeah. So even here, like they have like OmniSource. They have their aluminum recycling. So like if you're burning like 20 pounds of aluminum cans, you get like $1.
Yeah. But even with plastic, some places don't have it, but at least in Michigan they do. So that's kind of teaching students lifelong skills that they can use, or not skills, but developing habits that they can use for the rest of their lifetime.
like the more I think about the vending machine, I really think about how we can even just kind of make our own. We don't even have to necessarily buy one. We can like sort of have our own thing because we have with our many different departments. We can be like a senior project where some of the departments come together and make their own unique invention. Like you have the CSIT and the software engineers who like can create their own software like AI learning with the bottles.
All engineers are required to do a senior capstone project.
Yeah, so that can be like a big collaborative effort.
Yeah, usually it's just like one group, but they carry on the project a lot of times for multiple years.
Yeah. I know we were also looking to, when it comes to the different types of recycling, we have the plastic, we have the paper. When it comes to paper, I know we were looking into some of the dorm produced waste. And when talking to some of the faculty members in the housekeeping, we learned that almost up to 80% of the student produced waste in the dorms is recyclable, from the food containers, the paper towels, and all that sort of stuff. So that's something to really look into and try to target, because obviously most of our students here live on campus. So we really want to try to get recycling into the life cycle and into the bloodstream of the dorms.
Exactly. So we, as a potential solution would be to, instead of having 2 trash dumpsters, say outside of Reinderson Stadium, maybe put one dumpster for trash and one dumpster for recycling. Because if it truly is 80% of the waste produced is recyclable, I think it's fair to say that we could completely remove one of the dumpsters and replace it with a recycling one.
For sure, that'd eliminate half of the trash and it'd go to recycling.
Exactly. So even if somebody isn't perfect and still wants to throw away some recycling, you know, still we're recycling half.
I think thinking about it, it's like I would still have to take the effort to separate my trash. So do you think it'd be a good idea for like campus ops to provide like special trash bags that are like let's say we give them yellow smaller trash bags, and they can like be used specifically for recycling? It's be like, oh, instead of having to like really dig into my trash and really have to separate it, I can just have like 2 separate trash bags.
Exactly.
Like
I think that's a pretty good idea, yeah.
I know we were looking into, I know we had one of our teammates, Blake Ludi, really look into a certain company. He has his own affairs and he's busy with other things. I know Malachi was going to pick it up. It was a company called Brightmark.
Yeah, so they're based in Ashley, Indiana, and they recycle all plastics. So plastic types 1 through 7. Again, if you go back to like looking at plastic bottles or any trash, you can normally find a little number inside the recycling logo, and that just tells you whether it's recyclable or not. However, Brightmark will actually take all types 1 through 7. They grind them down into pellets, and then they've found a way to create biodiesel, so like oil, out of those plastics. They will take any plastic from anyone, but you have to be sort of contracted out, if you will, and you have to be able to provide 1,000 tons of plastic a year from your organization in order to partner with Brightmark for them to take all of your stuff. So while it is a very good idea, we would just have to do some calculations to figure out if we can support that. But if we can, like I said, they're based in Ashley, Indiana. That's right around the corner. So it would be extremely convenient to set up, I don't know, like a work-study program where a student has a job where their job is to not only collect some of the recycling, but also to take it there to Ashley, Indiana.
And the good part with Brightmark is they take all types.
Exactly. So there's no sorting needed. It's just a one-stop shop for all plastics. Sort it out, ship it off.
Personally, we recycle at home. Sorting is the worst part of it.
Yep.
Trying to figure out what goes where, and they do that, so that's nice.
It's like we could have sorting jobs here for work studies, because like when it comes to, because obviously there's more than just plastic that needs to be recycled. So like the only thing they really need to sort is like cardboard, plastic, and metal.
Exactly. And if we're looking at metal, Chandler, I think you were doing some research about metal collection here at Triumph.
Yeah, so we already have events that go on here at the Foundry when it comes to casting events. So I was doing research into aluminum recycling specifically, because obviously that's like the most common metal that's produced and recycled. So when it comes to that, I was doing my research, and it takes about 3,000 cans for about like a 1 pound ingot of like just pure aluminum, maybe a little heavier than that. So like if obviously there are a lot of cans that do get produced on campus for like soda and other kinds of drinks. If we bring those together, you can really put them into the foundry, and like it's just another great use of resources.
So you're talking about collecting cans and bringing them to the foundry here at Tryon?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's just all lined up there. Because I don't think they would have to do anything special really just to melt down aluminum.
Right now they take aluminum, but they don't take cans because it's high volume, low amounts. So we could definitely figure something out there.
It's just a system of condensing cans because obviously if they're not crushed down, that takes up a lot of room. So if we just have maybe develop a little machine here and there or just buy something.
Or a work study. I mean, there's so many things. We already have all the
can
tools.
crusher work study easy.
Yeah. We already have all the tools to do it. We just need to implement it.
Absolutely.
And we could make some more jobs to make it easy.
Exactly. Awesome.
Well, when looking at worldly news, like waste management is on the mind for everybody. I know that for sure. If you just look at the global scale of things, you definitely have people like internet star Mr. Beast. He's started up this recent project called Team Seas as a follow-up to his last project of Team Trees, and they're looking into waste management while trying to clean up the oceans. So that's just another big thing going on. What they're doing is that they're every $1, I think it's a ton of trash that gets picked up out of the ocean off of beaches. So it's just a really cool thing they're doing. If you really don't feel like contributing whatever to campus, it's something you can actually contribute to. If you just look it up like Team C's donation, you'll be able to find a link or two to be able to contribute to that, since there's not really a way to contribute to recycling or waste management here on campus at all. I know, Connor, you had the ASCE lined up. That was something else you looked into. Share a little more how that's different from Speak.
So the main difference was ASC is a club for just engineers, so they're just worried about the engineering building. Previously, they'd had up to, I think, like 6 bins, but this year with COVID and everything, the program's way down. They just have 1 bin, so they're still trying their best. I mean, they can't function.
Yeah, so it definitely as the world's opening back up, we'd try to definitely make a push for that, try to look for investors that like, hey, if you just contribute a little bit of money here, we can put more recycling bins into X building. Well, there's not much left to today, so I thank you both for coming out today. Very interesting discussion. I think everybody here learned a little bit of something. Hopefully we can start making changes for the better future on Tryon University. Thank you all for listening today. Again, I am Chandler Hutton. I'm joined by
Malachi Henry
and Connor Miller.
We'll see you next time.